This segment on Bridge Street is sponsored by Aging Advocates CNY.
Senior care is an issue that is all too familiar with families in our area, but as we've pointed out in the past, our next guests, well, they're more than up for the challenge in making that issue easier to bear.
The Aging Advocates team is very knowledgeable and it's expanding. Let's welcome back to the show founder and CEO Melissa Murphy, along with the newest member of the squad, Kimberlee Peterson, who will be specializing in senior housing. Kimberlee, welcome.
Thank you so much.
So tell us a little bit more about your background.
So I've had the privilege to work in different levels of care within the senior living housing area. So independent communities, assisted living communities, memory care communities, and that's only some of the options out there for seniors, but it's really given me a good perspective on the different levels of care and help guide people on if they're interested in learning about housing.
Melissa, what made Kimberlee a great fit for Aging Advocates?
Well, I've been working with Kimberlee with different clients over the years, starting at, I think, 2 communities ago, which was actually during COVID, and I watched her handle some really challenging times with such grace and empathy, compassion, and really, really good knowledge of the industry. So after a few years, I thought, okay, Kimberlee, she's one of us. She needs to be part of this Aging Advocates team that's growing because she truly is part of the mission.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit more about the benefits of senior housing.
Sure. So we know that typically the #1 goal for seniors is really to remain at home. However, when people have more medical challenges, they may not have the support needed to keep them in the home safely, or they might become lonely or isolated, especially. We saw that a lot during the pandemic out of necessity. A community setting is going to have that built-in support, clinical assistance sometimes depending on the level of care, and really that actual community, the sense of people being around, the activities available, and the socialization is really probably the driving reasons that people may choose or look into learning about senior housing.
How does one go about finding the best housing options for their senior loved one, and how do you help them out with that?
I wish I had the perfect answer. There's really no one community that is a fit for every single individual. So part of what we do at Aging Advocates is to get to know the individual, what's important to them. So what is their care needs? What are their medical needs? The financial aspect is really a big part of being able to find the right setting. And then beyond that, some of the amenities that the different communities offer. It might be aesthetics, like I want to have a balcony or outdoor space. It might be some of the program and activity offerings to know how robust is really the social programming. Some people don't want to be around a lot of other people, so being able to have your own space. So there's a lot of little pieces of that help us to guide someone, and then it's always their choice, but we do our very best to present what choices we think would be the best fit.
Yeah, I think it's important to know that when we work with a family, they hire us directly. So when we're giving recommendations, it is only in their best interest. So there are other services that are free senior placement options. It's just really important to know that those are actually folks that are getting paid a commission to get you to move into one of these facilities that they are contracted with. And while that might work out beautifully for some people, they might not know about a community that actually is the best fit because that wasn't part of the contract. So it's just really important to be aware of that scenario.
That's good to know. You mentioned financial.
Yeah.
It's a big consideration. What can you tell us more about what people should expect in that regard?
Sure. So there is a little bit of a misnomer about the payment options for senior housing. Most or really all medical insurances like your Medicare, they're not going to contribute towards the cost of living at the independent assisted living memory care options. So majority of the housing options in our area, Central New York, are private pay. You're going to see a lot of variables within that. There are Medicaid options as well, so we do our best to educate people on what is their financial situation and where can we point them to, but it's so dependent on really the assets that someone may have opens the door to a lot more of those options. Long-term care insurance policies, so this is something that it's not something that you just get for working somewhere anymore, unfortunately. They really existed a lot more generations or decades ago. They were part of perhaps an offering from an employer, but they're built for the cost of senior living or care as you get older. So that's something that there's a lot of variables on, but that might contribute towards the cost or cover the cost of senior housing. So we can sit down and help and look through that and really translate what those policies might cover. And then especially with Veterans Day coming up, it's important to talk about there is a VA benefit that can help contribute towards the cost as well. So that's something that we really do our best to educate people on.
That's great. Very helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you both so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Congrats on your new position.
Thank you.
For more information, visit agingadvocatescny.com. This segment has been sponsored by Aging Advocates CNY.